After an 11-year wait, the Leaf's first electric sibling enters a crowded market with few best-in-class attributes and strong but peculiar performance. This Nissan Ariya e-4orce is something of a head-scratcher. Beyond the main question as to why the first company to offer a modern mainstream affordable electric car took 11 years to introduce its second model, chip shortages excusing only one version of it, there are other questions. Why was the launch variant the lower price/profit single-motor version? Why was that motor placed in the front when so many class competitors opt for the better steering feel and handling dynamics that come with rear drive? And now that we've tested the top-spec AWD 2023 Nissan Ariya Platinum Plus e-4orce, we have additional questions about its old-school power delivery. By adding a second 238 horsepower, 221 pound-to-foot motor in the rear, combined output jumps to 389 horsepower and 442 pounds-to-foot. Hey, wait a minute, you say. 2 times 238 is 87 horsepower more than the battery can deliver. That's still sufficient oomph to lay down a 13.5 second, 108.1 mile per hour quarter-mile time, though, and it's a dramatic improvement relative to the big battery front drive Ariya's 15.8 seconds at 92.9 miles per hour. These e-4orce numbers look considerably quicker and faster than the car feels when making the run, however, because it seems to launch with even fewer than 389 horses. We sampled traction control on and off, various drive modes, and brake torquing, but simply mashing the pedal in sport mode with traction off gave us the best run. The Ariya's 0 to 30 mile per hour time is a leisurely 2.3 seconds, and 0 to 60 takes 5.0 seconds. Most vehicles in our database that post a 108 mile per hour trap speed with such a low 30 mile per hour time are traction limited, two-wheel drive, manual transmission cars, a modern Honda Civic Type R and Z/28S, Corvettes, or Trans Am WS6s from the late 90s. An all-wheel drive electric car with this output should be capable of a much quicker launch, as demonstrated by the similarly powerful Volvo XC40 P8 AWD Recharge, 402 horsepower, 486 pounds-to-foot, 1.8 seconds to 30, 4.2 to 60, 12.8 seconds at 107.7 miles per hour in the quarter. Our database includes one electric car with nearly identical power delivery, an early 2013 Tesla Model S. This single motor, rear drive, probably traction limited, example with the 85 kilowatt-hour battery, rated at 362 horsepower and 325 pounds-to-foot, paced our Nissan neck and neck to 60 miles per hour before pulling ahead. So why is Nissan throttling its Electron delivery from launch? For driving comfort? Battery life? Something else? Here, again, we get the impression Nissan is concerned its customers might not be able to manage 442 pounds-to-foot of torque, so it makes disabling the nannies somewhat tricky, via the left steering wheel control. With all nannies on, senior technical editor Matt Chajinski reports it was both slower and handled worse on the Figure 8 course, losing the rotational advantage of all-wheel drive, pushing more through the corners, and accelerating more slowly out of them. With nannies off, the Ariya became a more willing and entertaining dance partner on our course, and we get the impression perhaps it sends more of the available power to the rear motor than the front. Theoretically, a 151 238ths of a horsepower, or 39-61% split would be possible. The Ariya's best lap time of 26.3 seconds at 0.71 grams average betters the Volkswagen ID.4 Pro S AWD by a half second but trails the Kia EV6 GT line by 0.4 seconds. The 666 pounds lighter Tesla Model E dual-motor performance, wearing more aggressive tires, runs way out ahead of them all at 24.8 seconds and 0.79 grams average. We're already on record disapproving of EV regenerative braking systems that move the pedal to indicate how much braking is already happening. Mercedes EQ pioneered this bad idea, and Nissan's e-step feature, a quasi-one-pedal driving mode that won't bring the vehicle to a stop, perpetuates it. However, Nissan may have made the idea slightly worse with close pedal spacing that's enough to allow the brake pedal to graze the driver's shoe while they're backing off on the accelerator, annoying them even when they aren't groping to find where the pedal is. On the positive side, disabling e-step eliminates pedal movement even when regenerative braking occurs. This happens most in sport mode, which sort of emulates the amount of compression braking an engine would offer with a manual transmission. The indicator gauge showed about 80% of the maximum regen in this mode. There's a bit less regen in standard mode, and you get pure coasting in eco mode. Actual stopping power is fine. We woed the Ariya from 60 miles per hour in 122 feet, about on par with the Hyundai, Kia, and VW offerings, 117 to 124 feet. but it's well behind our Mustang Mach E-4orce and Tesla Model Y test vehicles, 105 to 113 feet. Opting for all-wheel drive drops the Ariya's EPA range from 289 to 257 miles, a figure that proved almost achievable in the real world. In Motor Trend's 70 mile/hour highway range test, the e-4orce model managed 241 miles, or just 6% short of the number printed on the window sticker. It's more common to see EVs land 10 to 20% below their EPA estimate in our real-world test. Because of that, the Ariya can claim longer legs than the Hyundai Ioniq 5 AWD, the Ford Mustang Mach-E GT, and the rear-wheel drive Volkswagen ID.4 Pro, despite the fact that the latter two score bigger EPA numbers than the Nissan. Unfortunately, Nissan taints that victory by giving drivers wildly optimistic real-time guesstimates. With the battery full, the instrument cluster indicates the Ariya can cover 289 miles, and that wishful thinking persisted even as we accumulated miles. A Nissan rep explained the inaccuracy by saying the real-time prediction was an estimate, not an exact science. We have another theory. It's probably not a coincidence that the AWD Ariya thinks it can drive as far as the front drive version. We suspect the AWD car is running an algorithm that was written for the more efficient model. Although its highway range is respectable, there are better choices for anyone planning to cover long distances in their electric SUV. With power peaking at a low 130 kilowatts and quickly tapering off, fast charging the Ariya is only fast if you compare it to past generation EVs like the Chevrolet Bolt and the Nissan Leaf. The Hyundai Ioniq 5 and Kia EV6 use an 800-volt architecture to charge much quicker. In the first 15 minutes of charging, the Nissan adds 92 miles of range, while the Kia EV6 AWD piles on an extra hour worth of driving with 164 miles added. Like the Super Cruise and Blue Cruise systems from GM and Ford, Nissan's Pro Pilot Assist permits extended hands off the wheel, eyes on the road driving on certain mapped highways. The system generally works well, though on one stretch we were annoyed by frequent disengagements attributed to HD map under maintenance. We like that it can be programmed to automatically adjust to changing speed limits with an offset, but are disappointed that the maximum offset is 5 miles per hour. 10 would be ideal. The system will even alert you when closing on a slower moving car and suggest you initiate a lane change by pressing a button on the right of the steering wheel. Problem is, the system never once recommended we change back after passing the slowpoke, even when both lanes were free of traffic. No bueno. There's no damping adjustment, so when switching from Sport to Standard to Eco to Snow, you'll mainly sense the fake engine noise in Sport. As these soundtracks go, it's more tolerable and less ridiculous than most, a gradual stepping down of accelerator pedal aggressiveness and regenerative braking, and an increase in stability control intervention. Steering feel might be slightly stiffer in Sport mode, but the changes are so small you'll never miss the lack of an individual mode that allows for a mix and match of settings. At least at the Platinum Plus trim level, the interior fittings are class above luxurious, especially in front, with backlit Japanese lantern ambient lighting accents, abundant French-stitched Alcantara/suede material, and leather in a lovely Wedgwood blue. Materials are just as nice in the back, except the lantern mesh on the doors doesn't light up, but the low, kiddo-optimized seat cushion forces adult legs to splay in search of thigh support, and there's a Velcro attached cover for the latch car seat attachment points that one Princess passenger perceived as a most unwelcome P. Dimensionally, the Ariya is about 2 inches longer and wider outside than a VW ID.4, but inside, it packages about 10 fewer cubic feet of overall passenger and cargo room. It's almost 5 inches taller than the slightly longer EV6, yet it just roughly matches its interior volume, and our current reigning SUV of the year, Hyundai's Ioniq 5, fits almost 12 cubes more in a similar footprint with a lower roof. There's also no front trunk and no underfloor storage in back. At this Platinum Plus price point, a sharper looking, better performing, more fun to drive Kia EV6 GT seems well worth its modest $1,370 price premium. Ford's Mustang Mach E-4orce lineup closely aligns with Ariya e-4orce pricing, but with roomier, better performing options, in terms of 0 to 60 and quarter-mile elapsed times, if not trap speeds. Looking at gas-powered SUVs, the Ariya's Infinity cousin, the QX55, is similarly priced and sized inside and out. The Genesis GV70's 2 gas engine choices closely match the Ariya e-4orce model's 2 battery sizes, while the fully electrified model represents a tempting $5,450 price bump for those who can make do with 21 fewer miles of EPA range. And at least as of press time, the Tesla Model Y seems to make a much stronger case for itself in terms of price, performance, and charging availability, presuming you can accept the minimalist interior aesthetic, sparse dealer network, and CEO's antics.
We have come to the end of the video. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel to help us.